And then this is just to clarify that you were saying that she could either take a GE Humanities or that third semester Spanish.
Yeah.
So I remember actually, like, my ambassador telling me, like, so you would explain that to them that you can either do the third semester first, like, it's just up to you.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, you know, because 4 units of a language, you know, maybe that is a little daunting to them. And maybe they want to just take something else for now and then worry about that. Because they only have the 1 as opposed to 3 classes, they have a little bit of flexibility. Yep, it's going to be up to them. Yes.
So the box, that's like after you helping them decide which classes they want to take, or you just?
No, I'm just showing you like their schedule. I mean, you certainly can, but you want to, I don't think you'll have time to sit with every single student and say, okay, what do you think about Econ 101 versus Psych 101? So when it says GE Social and Behavioral, you want to make sure that they know where to go to see the required courses or what courses would fit. Yeah.
So we don't like write this?
No,
Okay.
no. Yeah, when I'm looking for you to personalize the map, I'm looking for everything up to that point.
Okay.
So I'm looking for all this stuff. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions before we move on to the next? All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next packet. So, based on the information, on the personal information sheet, we need to personalize the map for the first year. So this is Miles Davis. He is an electrical engineering major. So based on the personal information sheet, fall semester, the student needs to register for RWS 101 for GE composition. And RWS 101 is specific, so they can't take the RWS 100. The 101 is based on their score on the EPT. They need their ELM score, so this means that the student hasn't been exempt from the ELM, so their scores on the SAT or ACTs weren't high enough to clear the ELM, so they must take our ELM. So we'll look at the fall semester on the map and we'll compare that with the personal information sheet. So first, we're going to cross out GE composition and we're going to add RWS 101. Just so they know, it's still going to work for GE composition, but we want to make sure that he's taking the correct course. Okay, so next up, the map says to take Math 150. Well, because he needs to take the ELM, he's not able to register for 150 as it's suggested on the map. So depending on the out-of-state student situation, if they haven't taken the ELM, and this is going to address Jordan's question, if they haven't taken the ELM, they can enroll in the appropriate level of math that they think they should start in. So the student cannot start in Math 150, even if he thinks he's ready for it, because there's a prerequisite that will check for the completion of Math 141 with a C or better. The other prerequisite is passing score on the pre-calculus proficiency exam and passing the ELM. So this student could register for Math 141 if they feel like that's appropriate, but when they take the ELM by August 20, I think August 27th is the date that I have on here, but I'm not sure that's exactly correct. But when they take the ELM by that date, if their score is lower, then they must adjust their schedule by the add-drop deadline. Okay, so they would substitute that Math 141 for whatever math course they needed based on their ELM. Yes, bless you.
So wouldn't you just kind of avoid that whole situation and like have them enroll in something else and just say like,
No, because we have to put them in a math.
oh,
Yeah, because it's on their, it's on, what is it on that tells us they have to go into a math? Yeah, actually, no, as I just said that. Yeah, no, we don't want to avoid it.
Okay.
And the answer may not be they have to go into math, but because it's on their personal information sheet that they have to take the ELM.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's not they can do it in the spring semester when they find out I mean,
no.
okay.
Well, they have to take the ELM. And the problem with holding off on the ELM, obviously, is that what if they have to be in GMS 90?
As I say, what if they don't, they pass to get into Math 140, what
Then they have to adjust it and enter into that appropriate. Thanks, Denise.
I just want to add that
a great point, thank you, yes.
So you said that since they haven't taken the ELM, they can sign up for whatever course they think would suit them. But since 150 requires a prerequisite, their only option is to go for 141, right?
Or if they have a feeling that they're gonna be placed in intermediate algebra, they could actually register for that.
But they can't do the 150.
No, they cannot do the 150. Even if they had the ELM, they couldn't do the 150. Yeah, and we'll cover that with another example. That's a great question. Because it's a prerequisite of Math 141. Yeah, yes.
Okay, so this is a little bit more like general, but if a student comes and they have that they need the ELM on their like information sheet, so at that point, they, it says like in, well, in this specific instance, that they need a specific math class. So by the time they come to orientation without having ELM, by that point, it's like they're just not gonna be able to take that math class that semester, because if they're taking ELM like right before orientation, right before, after, the weekend after move-in, wouldn't it be too late anyway by the time they got their scores?
No, those are scored locally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're scored locally and they'll actually get the score the following week.
Okay,
Yep, so, and that's why we do it like that, so that they do have time to adjust their schedule
okay,
in case they do test right into Math 141. They're not gonna test into Math 150,
yeah,
right? But if they could test right into Math 141, that's one less prerequisite we have to worry about
okay, so
down
if
the road.
the student is like, they know they're gonna pass it, like say they're just out of state, but they're like, they know they're just gonna pass it,
They can go into Math 141,
okay,
and then when they get the score, if they pass, then they can just stay in Math 141.
okay,
Yep.
should we like still be like, there's a chance, like just in case to plan for it?
You know, you don't wanna focus too much on it, just make sure that they know they have to take the ELM, and that if they need to adjust their classes, if they have questions, then refer them to our office, the advisory center. Yeah.
So is the like 141 direct like a new thing, or is it,
No, it's always been a prerequisite.
so the catalog, you're like just, or like this just assumes that they pass like the
Yeah.
proficiency?
So that's why I spend so much time saying that the math is general, that's a great question. The math is general, so it is not accounting for things like Math 150 prerequisite.
Okay.
So especially important for our engineering students and our, basically any STEM major, engineering, sciences, math, is because the math's purpose is to show you what you need to do to get out of here in 4 years. Well, for an engineering student, we know right off the bat that that may not be the most realistic for every engineering student. Some engineering students are gonna come to us with AP credit and they're gonna be ready to bounce right into that first semester. Many are not. Okay, so that's why we have to personalize it and account for those prerequisites. Yeah, yes.
So to like get into the Math 150 class, they would have to have AP credit?
They would either have to have already completed 141 somehow, or they could take the pre-calculus placement exam, but they also have to have an ELM score in order to qualify for that. So they have to have passed ELM, and they have to have taken the pre-calc placement exam. Yes.
I just want to say a quick thing about like the AP scores too, just like in case it happens. Like one thing I did, I forgot to send in my score for like RWS, like got like the pass out of 100. And you can still do it when you get there, and you just have to register for that class and then change it. So like if some student did like realize like, oh shoot, like I didn't send my score, they can still do it even like at that time. Like you can still send it to the office and then like, just
Yeah.
wait those days.
Yeah, that's true, that's correct. Any other questions on that? Thank you for adding that. Okay. All right, so, okay, so we did the Math 141.
Heather?
Yes.
And then, not to get you all off track, but just something that was, I know was, they asked a lot of questions on just right now in terms of the ELM and EPT for out-of-state students. There's a lot of communication that does go out to these
Thank
students to ensure that they do take it prior to orientation, like it can be proctored at different test sites across the country. We talk to them about even taking it here while they come to orientation. So it is gonna be probably the exception for out-of-state students that they haven't taken it by the time that they come to orientation. Or they'll take it the next day here at the test office. So just wanted to put that out there as well.
Thank you very much. Okay, so here is this student's potential schedule for fall. So They're gonna, take RWS 101, possibly Math 141, Biology 100, because that's on there, and we look up that class and we see it doesn't have any prerequisites, so we're good to go. Does everyone know where to find a prerequisite of course? Good, perfect. They want to take Music 151 and Philosophy 101, another great example of how it just says GE Humanities, so we just want to make sure the student knows where to go to select those courses. For spring semester, we're going to leave the GE Intermediate Composition, the Oral Comm, the Social and Behavioral Science. As far as the physics and the math, this is all dependent on the math placement in the previous semester. So they cannot take Physics 195 and 195 lab without Math 150. So we don't know, and obviously they can't take Math 151 without Math 150. So we don't know what the situation is going to be yet until we have a little bit more clarification of what math are they actually in. If they're in GMS 91, we've got some personalization to do, which we can do with the student when we're in the fall semester. They're in 141, and we still need to adjust it. So we would leave that be, just letting the student know to follow up with us to figure out what the next steps are. Okay. So we're going to move on to our next one, our third one in your little packet there. Okay. So based on the information on the personal information sheet, we need to personalize the map for this student for the first year. So this is Paul McCartney, he is a music major. Okay, so first we want to look at the status. So under math, we can see that the student needs both terms of developmental math. So look at the bottom of the personal information sheet. And you should see that Paul is registered for GMS 90 in summer. So what does that mean? Yeah, he's in the FAST program. He's a resident. So that means that now we know the student will still need GMS 91, and we can put that on the fall schedule. They need composition, they need oral communication. So the math, the GE math, is not until the spring. You can see that on the map. So in the fall, what we'll need to do is select another course to cross off and add GMS 91 in its place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the GE Social and Behavioral Science, and I'm going to add the GMS 91 in its place. Can anyone venture a guess why I made that decision versus a major? Yes, please.
The GEs are, well, personally, I think are easier to fill in, but you want to get those major preps in while you can.
That's exactly right, yeah. Because those major preps, they're on the map for a reason, like that. So we don't want to mess with a student's major prep, especially not a music student or any other student for that matter. So yeah, the GEs are going to be way easier as long as they're not a golden four. They're going to be much easier to be flexible with. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. So we talked about that. Any questions on that? Does that make sense to everyone? Yes.
So it's a registered composition course. That's just like a regular thing. Like, you don't have to add a certain class because you pass the requirements.
Right.
It's just saying that you should, that you have to.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, and we just want to make sure the student knows where to look for what classes will satisfy the GE composition. Okay. Yep. Yes.
But I'm kind of confused, because on fall 2017 it says register for composition course, but then spring 2018 it says register for intermediate composition course.
Okay,
Not confusing.